Hello friends, I'm Dr. Vivek. Today I'm going to discuss with you the second part of Aristotle. Uh, we have been discussing Aristotle, and this is the second part of Aristotle uh, that I'm going to discuss with you. Uh, in addition to the part second of Aristotle, uh, in this video, I'm going to discuss with you the constituent parts of tragedy. Basically, as Aristotle writes in Poetics, his book, the six constituent parts. First one is plot, second is character, third is thought, diction, song, and spectacles. Mainly, there are six constituent parts of tragedy. As you know, that he regards tragedy as an important uh, genre of literature. So in tragedy, there should be, according to Aristotle, there should be six constituent parts. And the first three, that is plot, character, thought, these are the object of imitation. And fourth and fifth, diction and song, are medium of imitation. And the third one, spectacle, this is manner of imitation. So this way he divides tragedy, the constituent six constituent parts of tragedy. Plot, character, and thought are the object of imitation. Diction and song are the medium of imitation, and the spectacles is the manner of imitation, as I said. The importance of these constituent parts varying in sequence in which they are written. The plot or arrangement of incidents is the chief part of tragedy, because tragedy is not an imitation of man but of an action, and the life and the action and life consists in action. So basically, actions are important, the character is not important. Here what Aristotle means to say that in description of a tragedy, when you are describing, when you're writing a tragedy, there should be action should be prominent, not the character, not the other things, but the yes, in a plot, the important thing is a man in action. Yes. So Aristotle says that without action there cannot be a tragedy, although there can be one without character. So it shows the importance of action in the tragedy. The characters are not important, but the actions of man, of character, are important. The first one, as I said, plot. Plot is the soul of tragedy for Aristotle. Tragedy is an imitation of man in action and of life, and life consists in action. Aristotle considers plot of the utmost importance of all constituent parts of tragedy. He believes that there can be there can be a tragedy without character, but not without plot. Uh, Here, even plot is plot is very important in a tragedy. So without character there can be tragedy, but without plot there cannot be a tragedy. It is the deeds or action of characters because of which they are happy or otherwise means unhappy. Means it is the deeds, it's the actions which make the characters happy or unhappy. So the actions of the character is more important than the character itself. uh, Structure of the plot, how the when it says the Aristotle says the plot is so important, so we'll discuss about the structure of the plot. The first is unity of action. In the structure you'll find unity of action. There are three unities Aristotle describes: unity of time, unity of place, and the most important one, that is unity of action. In the plot, the artistic arrangement of incidents is of utmost importance. I mean, how you arrange the actions in the tragedy, that is more important. There is no sequence as such. These things should come first and then later on. There is no sequence as such, but how you arrange, how the writer arranges uh, uh, these uh, uh, these things in a plot, that is important. The plot must contain the most relevant events. A plot must contain the most relevant events happening in the life of the hero. The tragedy should contain only those events, the events that the presence of actions of which we make a we make a difference to the continuity of the plot. Means uh, the tragedy should contain only those events, the presence of actions of which we make a difference to the continuity of plot. Means actions are important that make the continuity of the action of the plot. So those actions are important, which make the changes in the plot, which add to the plot. So those are not actions; those are not important. That not adding to the plot, they are, those actions are not important. So not all the actions taking place in the life of the hero are going to be the parts of the plot. So same thing it is said, this is also necessary that the plot comprises the events that concerns the life of one person, not more than the plot. mm, uh, uh, more so, the plot must project itself as an organic whole. When you see a plot, there should be an organic whole. You are they are so arrangement. The actions are so arranged that in a sequence you can able to understand what is plot. So the artistic arrangement of the actions are such in such a manner that it seems that it's an organic whole. It's a one. It's not a different one. So in a actions which is happening in the life of the hero should be represented as a whole, as one. Aristotle finds the episodic plot of worst kind because in this events or episode follow one another is in mere chronological manner without probable or necessary sequence. So Aristotle regards as episodic plot is a worst kind. Means the action after action is happening and there is not coming out the result. They are not reaching at the end. Just Kahani Ghar Ghar Ki or these Ekta Kapoor serial, episode after episode you are watching it, but there is no end as such. There is no result as such. On and on you are stretching the plot, and episode after episode it's becoming longer, and there is no probable or necessary sequence in it. Just you are adding action after action. So this kind of plots, episodic plot, according to Aristotle, is not important, and it should not be. It's a worst kind, he said. Second is unity of time. As I said, the unity of action is more important according to Aristotle, not the unity of time and place. Unity of time, Aristotle only once casually mentions what critics later called unity of time. Aristotle said that tragedy should confine itself to the single revolution of the sun and slightly exceeds this limit, whereas epic action has no limits of time. In epic, there is no limit of time. You can describe so many suns, so many years, and but in a tragedy, there should be single revolution of the sun, means in a day, description of the life of a person in a day. Out of this statement of Aristotle, old critics inferred that For a good tragic plot, it was necessary to select an event or events that happen within 24 hours or so in the life of the hero, so that when it is represented within 3 hours duration, it does not look awkward, or does not look unnatural. Although Aristotle nowhere mentions this as a condition of a good plot, he may simply have seen stating the prevalent quantum of his time. Means, as such, he's nowhere mentioned, but critics had inferred that he's saying this, that should be a single revolution of the sun. Now, the unity of place. Unity of place indicates conformity between the scene of tragic event or events and time taken by them to happen. Aristotle nowhere mentions this, as well as this unity of place. Critics simply assumed as a natural corollary of unity of time. There is no, as such, he never mentions this kind of unity, this as a necessary tool in a tragedy, in the description of the tragedy. So Aristotle nowhere mentions these two unities, that is, unity of place and unity of time, these two unities as essential for a good plot. So it's very important that unity of action, according to Aristotle, is more important, and unity of time and unity of place is not so important in a tragedy. So in a tragedy, the actions of the hero is more important than the other things like unity of time and unity of place. So this is the second part of Aristotle. In the third part, I'll wind up this Aristotle. Uh, and thanks for watching this video. Thank you.